Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to sharpen our speech by getting right into the 10 most common pronunciation mistakes that can even trip up really advanced English speakers. Okay, let's start with a little test. Go on, say this out loud with me. The right is lead. Does that sound a little strange? Maybe a bit jumbled? It's a perfect way to see how just one tiny sound swap can completely change what you're trying to say. Look, if you've ever been misunderstood because of one tiny sound, you're definitely not alone. It happens to literally everyone learning a language. You've got the grammar down, you know the words, but somehow something gets lost in translation. Well, today, we're going to start fixing that. And let's be super clear here. The goal isn't to get some kind of perfect accent. I mean, what even is that, right? The real goal is to be understood, to feel confident when you speak. And by catching these common slip-ups before they become these deep-rooted habits, you're going to make your speech way more precise and, honestly, just more natural.
All right, first up, we're going to dive right in by looking at some of those fundamental building blocks, those tricky sound pairs that often get mixed up.
So, let's talk about the L and R sounds. It really all comes down to what your tongue is doing. Seriously, it's a physical thing. For that L sound in a word like light, your tongue tip has to touch that little ridge right behind your front teeth. Go ahead, try it. La, la, light. Feel that? But for the R sound, like in right, your tongue pulls back and doesn't touch anything at all. It just kind of curls in the middle of your mouth. Ra, ra, right. That's it. That's the whole secret. And you know what? It's the exact same idea with V and W. It's all about contact. For the V sound, you need a little bit of friction. Your top teeth gently touch your bottom lip, and you make a buzzing sound. Feel that vibration? Very. Now, for the W sound, forget your teeth completely. Just round your lips like you're about to whistle. Wah, wah, wisely. No teeth involved. Totally different movement. Ah, the famous TH sound. And here's a fun fact. There are actually two of them. And the difference is so subtle. It's all about whether you turn your voice on or off. So for a word like think, it's just a puff of air. Your tongue is between your teeth, but there's no vibration. Th. But for a word like this, you use the exact same mouth position, but you hum. You turn on your voice box. The. Feel the buzz in your throat? That's the only difference. So here is the single most important thing to remember. The absolute key for both of these TH sounds. Your tongue has to, and I mean has to, be between your teeth. Just a little bit. If it stays behind your teeth, you're not making a TH sound at all. You're accidentally making an S or a Z sound. And that's how think suddenly becomes sink. All right, part 2. Now that we've got the individual sounds down, let's zoom out a bit and talk about the rhythm and melody of English. What you could call the music of the language. So think about it like this. Every word that has more than one syllable has its own little beat, its own rhythm. That's what we call word stress. And getting that beat right is so important because it's what gives English its unique flow. And sometimes it can even change what a word means completely.
And this is the perfect example of that. Take the word present. Same letters, right? But if I say present with the stress on the first syllable, I'm talking about a gift. But if I say, I'm going to present my work with the stress on the second syllable, now it's a verb. It means I'm going to introduce something. See that? Just by moving the beat, we change the whole meaning. This is why getting a handle on word stress is a total game changer.
Okay, so how do we actually create that natural rhythm? Well, a huge part of it comes down to this one little sound called the schwa. Honestly, it's the laziest, quickest, most relaxed sound in English. It's just a little It's also the most common vowel sound. A lot of learners try to pronounce every vowel very clearly, which can sound a little robotic. The trick is to use this quick sound in the parts of the word you don't stress. Think of banana. We don't say banana, we say banana. See, the first and last A's become that lazy sound. It makes everything flow so much better. And this brings us to something that really confuses a lot of people, especially with American English. Have you ever wondered why the word water can sometimes sound like waiter? Why does that T suddenly sound like a D? Well, the answer is something called the flap T. It's what happens when a T gets squished between two vowel sounds, like in water or city. The T gets a little soft. It's not a hard T sound, and it's not quite a full D sound either. It's the super quick, light tap of your tongue against the roof of your mouth, just a little flick. That's the sound that gives American English that really fluid, connected feeling. Okay, part 3. We've got the sounds, we've got the music. Now it's time to add those final, polishing details that are going to make your pronunciation really, really precise.
Oh man, the ed ending for past tense verbs. This is such a classic trap. So many people want to just add an extra syllable, like saying worked. But nope, there are actually 3 different ways to say it, and it all depends on the sound that comes right before it. So if the verb ends with a sound that has no voice, like the K in work, the ending sounds like a T, worked. If the verb ends in a voiced sound, like the L in call, it's a D sound, called. The only time you add that extra syllable is when the verb already ends in a T or D sound, like want becomes wanted. Simple once you know the rule.
Here's another super important detail: knowing when to stay quiet. You see, English is filled with these little trap letters that are written down but are totally silent. It's so tempting to look at a word and try to pronounce every single letter you see. But if you do that, you end up saying things like knee instead of knee, or clomb instead of climb. Just learning to spot these common silent letter patterns will make you sound so much more natural.
Okay, let's finish up with 2 final habits we really need to fix. They're almost like opposites. The first one is dropping sounds off the ends of words, and the second one is adding extra sounds in where they don't belong.
So on one hand, you've got to finish your words, really pronounce that final consonant sound. It's a huge deal because it's often the only thing that separates a word like cap from cat. Don't let your mind become men. Then, on the other hand, you have to fight the urge to add extra vowels into a group of consonants. You want to blend those sounds smoothly together. A word like street should be one smooth sound, not street, or blue, not blue.
Okay, so we've broken down all these little pieces. What does it all mean? What's the big picture for you on your path to clarity?
You know, at the end of the day, this is why it all matters. This isn't about trying to erase your accent or sound like somebody you're not. It's about connection. It's about making sure that your amazing ideas, your funny jokes, your important points, that they all land clearly, just the way you want them to. That's the real goal.
Wow, we've really covered a lot today, haven't we? Everything from where you put your tongue to the actual music of the language. The best thing you can do now is to pick just one of these 10 areas, whichever one you think is your biggest challenge, and just focus on that for a little while. You'll be amazed at what a huge difference it can make. So, what's it going to be? What's your first step? Thanks so much for joining us on The Explainer.